Hi, my name is Steve Brock, and I was just interviewed by the KeithAndrewNetwork. I had a great time. I recommend anybody who wants to come on and really have an important and deep conversation, but yet still fun conversation. Uh, Come on down. Keith Andrew is a great guy. I'm ready.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 525. I am your host, Keith Andrew. Along here is Stephen Brock, and I just want to say thank you for being a guest on my talk show.
You're welcome. Good to be here.
No, absolutely, the honor's all mine. For people who want to know what my talk show is about, the whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. At the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities to never give up and prove people wrong. Oh man, I'm just fighting off my wrinkles in my shirt. So pretty much, like I said, the whole point of my talk show, I know this shirt looks horrible. I need to get a better shirt. The whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something, and at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities that never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be. It's to prove to them you still amount to something. I know Skype's kind of breaking in, breaking out, but until I get my own studio, you have to do what you have to do. But with that being said, what can you tell us about yourself?
Well, I'm an actor, I'm a singer, I'm a songwriter. I also write. I just recently performed in a one-person show during the Hollywood Fringe Festival, a 45-minute show. I've written scripts, I've produced short films, and then I was diagnosed as a kid with a few forms of learning disabilities. I've always been somewhat dyslexic, not severely so. I do have ADHD. When I was a kid, my doctor prescribed or called me hyperactive. I actually had a electroencephalogram. I was on dexedrine as a kid, which is terrible for kids, but that's what I was on. I also later on in life learned that I was bipolar as well. So that these are challenges that I've had to use. I've learned that having learning disability is not necessarily something that can be moved around. You don't walk around it. You don't go over it. It's there, and you have to deal with it. So I use it, as well as my ADHD, as well as my bipolar disorder, little OCD, little even. I've had one therapist tell me I might have Asperger's syndrome. So they're all serotonin related things. But it's been a challenge throughout my life. But it's when one time I was on stage and I realized that all these things that I have are actually to be successful at what I want to do. These things I'm allowed to use them. They're in a way. For instance, if I need to cry on stage. I have that ability to cry, like I've done before, and I can call upon that superpower, I guess, to be able to access that emotion. So I can access anything. So with the fact that I am have mild Asperger's syndrome, very functional, but it's there. I wrote a script about an autistic man. So ultimately, what it is me taking what I've been diagnosed with and extrapolating it out further, way past that, and accessing those emotions. So that's basically how I'm using these these things that people are calling disabilities, and using them as tools in my success. And it's a slow burn of a success, but I just shot a short film, and I'm going to be doing another one this weekend. Last year, I was in the audition room of several very big TV shows. So these are successes that I'm chalking up. On the plus side of everything, negative things happen. You have to be able to get up in the morning. Sometimes it's hard. So there's a lot of challenges. Me being honestly, sometimes being OCD can be a benefit. I've about in December I was 354 pounds, and I've lost almost 100 pounds since then because I went on a keto diet. But also, there has to be some sort of degree of obsession to be able to pull something like that off. And I think the little OCD doesn't hurt as long as you know how to use it right.
No, I agree with you. Now, the next question I was going to ask you is, who influenced you to become an actor? And the more I look at it and wear the shirt, I'm like, I really should get something better because I didn't realize, number one, how wrinkled it was, and number two, you can see through it. So it's kind of like, this is why I stayed with high-quality shirts. But, hey, you got to do what you got to do.
Oh, yeah.
But
who influenced me to be an actor? Well, I've had lots of different influences. There's lots of actors that I find influenced me to this day. Even Jack Nicholson, Robert Downey Jr. currently, Al Pacino, Robert De Niro. These the typical answers that actors say. They are very they're obvious, but I would say also someone like Robert Downey Jr., who has admitted in interviews that he does have a learning disability. James Earl Jones is a stutterer, and so is Tom Selleck. These are excellent actors who are not overcoming necessarily. I like to say that you don't overcome disabilities; you use them to your benefit. And I think James Earl Jones is able to do that because he found that by slowing his speech down, he was stuttering less. And guess what he's known for? His deliberate voice. And when I get anxious or whatever, sometimes I also stutter, or even something called cluttering, where you're not stuttering a word, but you're stuttering through the sentence. And I do that too. So something like James Earl Jones is quite the inspiration as far as that's concerned. Being able to take your issues and use them to your benefit. Even folks like Robin Williams, who unfortunately we lost him recently. Most of his life, he had to deal with dark, depression, and because I would say the funniest comics are probably the ones with the most clinical depression. That's not my opinion. That's a clinical thing, but it's the idea is it takes a dark person to be able to see the comedy in things that we don't all see. And I think those kinds of things also inspire me to be able to take whatever darkness that might infest my day and use it to my advantage. In my acting, in my writing, as a songwriter, I've written a lot of darker songs. Love Lost, Love Not Being Returned, those sort of songs. I've also found that the more weight I've lost, the less that feeling hits me. So my songs are a little bit happier right now, but I use those things to my benefit. And so Morgan Freeman, these James Earl Jones, these are people who have talked about their lives in terms of the darkness. There's some disability going on, and I think that is what's truly the lesson to be learned for me as far as how I get inspired to be an actor, and any other thing as an artist. But definitely being able to be on stage because my show was 45 minutes. And I'm looking for other places to bring it. So it's a good show, but it does talk about dark things. And being able to be on stage for 45 minutes, mostly talking with an occasional songs, because I'm a songwriter too. That is a massive challenge, and if you see that, if you know that somebody like James Earl Jones or Morgan Freeman or Robin Williams could do 2 hours. Now, the problem that I remember reading with Robin is that his Parkinson's diagnosis pushed him over the edge, but he had to live with many dark emotions, and of course he self-medicated at the beginning of his career, which unfortunately is what a lot of ADHD people do. I would say if show me a person with ADHD, and I'll show you a person who drinks way too much coffee, at least. And I mean, it's a caffeine addiction for sure. So ADHD, there's my train of thought. It's like a roller coaster, not
Well,
a
let me ask you this. That you mentioned that you do a show for 45 minutes. What can you tell us about your show?
Well, the show is well, I'm also bisexual, so that's what the main through line of the show is about the relationships I've had, and with men and women in my life, with very specific examples of that. And the show also brings up the concept of sexual assault against men. There's that I do depict that on stage, and it's but I also talk about depression. I talk about I have a whole thing about ADHD, about especially when you combine the two. I mean, let your powers combine. When you have 1,000 thoughts going on at once, and all 1,000 thoughts are telling you you're a piece of shit, forgive my French. That's hard. So that's what the show's about. And the show ultimately has a happy ending, or it's the happy continuance. I never call it the ending, because when I talk about the end of my show is how I'm progressing, and there's no actual ending to my story. I don't think we ever face that, and it is about, that part is about growing and being better and using these things, knowing that when I talk about I have ADHD or bipolar disorder, and it's able to let me continue, it's able to let me connect to my own emotions better. And when other people in my life look at that when I was a kid, people would see that in me, and they would connect to it by calling me names, like geek and nerd and weirdo and God, yes I am. I'm all those things, sure. And what's nice about that is that I'm not the only one. And I meet the most interesting people who find me fascinating. And even though I don't often find myself fascinating, I have met people who do, and I find them fascinating. And it's because we are all weird. I think I'm not sure if I'm quoting. I'm not going to quote the person. It might have been Paint, but something about staying weird. Ladies and gentlemen, please stay weird. And that's I do. I try that every day. That's what the show. That's kind of what the show's about.
Hey, whatever makes you happy. As long as you're not hurting other people, it's just do what makes you happy.
Absolutely. And I like to make and I think passing that along as much as you can also is true. I mean, like a person who's hanging out in his apartment taking heroin. Yeah, he's doing what he loves. But he's not spreading that. So I think the best form of that, doing what you love, is finding that one thing that you love that will benefit others, even if it's just one person. The point when I did my show was to change some minds, and I did. I know I changed some minds. I have actually gotten people to go on the same diet that I'm on, based on some conversation I had in my show. It doesn't matter what change I've affected, but if I have affected change by doing what I love, then that's the true success. I want to be able to touch people's hearts and minds with what I do. I don't think I don't know if I can find an actor worth their salt who doesn't feel the same way. I mean, sure, you have for every Robert Downey Jr. you've got like Jessica Simpson, but she can call herself an actress all she wants. But so to me, that it's not just doing what you love; it's spreading the love.
No, absolutely. Now we're gonna take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, I'm gonna ask you 2 hard-hitting subjects, and I'm gonna pass the remaining time over to you.
All right, great, thanks.
Vanessa Lina. I'm Asian Lalo.
This
is Cynthia Bass today.
I'm Sonia Fisher. This is Shane Smith.
My name is Alexandra Bowie.
My name is Amelia Clover.
Hi, I'm Amy Linden.
Hi, I'm Anita Nicole Brown.
It's Meg Green.
Hi, my name is Asata Caldwell.
Hi, everybody. I'm Brooke.
Hi, I'm Bryn Berg.
Hi, I'm Casey Dunn.
Hi, it's Cassandra Kavinsky.
Hi, I'm Christina Briza.
I'm Cindy Hogan.
I'm Courtney Sinello.
Hi, I'm Daisy.
My name is Deborah Jane East.
Hi, my name is Dinah Maasea.
Everyone, I'm Victoria London.
Hi, I'm Heather Crona.
Hi, I'm Heather Callahan Stevens.
Hi, I'm J. Nicole Ralph.
My name is Jamie Petrell.
My name is Julie.
My name is Julia Brankovic.
Kathleen Wills.
Kimberly Amato.
Hi, my name is Laura Putnam.
Hi, I'm Laura Chapanis.
Hi, everyone. I'm Alyssa Damas.
This is Michelle Mupo, a.k.a. Fuchsia.
I'm Rachel Olivera.
Hi, my name is Sarah Joy Mount.
Hi, I'm Susan Brender.
Hi, everyone. This is Venus Leone.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Dana.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Herrera, and I was just on the Keith Andrew Network. It was tons of fun. We used up all our time and then some. I really recommend this show, and try to be a guest on Keith's show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to 525. I am your host, Keith Andrew. Along here is Stephen Brock. Now, what's my last name?
Call me Steve, by the way.
All right,
Mr.
Steven.
Now that we're friends.
I'm here as Mr. Steven.
Now that we're friends, you call me Steve.
So the first question I was going to ask you is, how do you feel about social media? Do you think social media can make you or break you? And with everything you accomplish in your career, even using Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, do you think these websites influence you, or let me rephrase that. Do you think these websites influence your career and if people should work with you, or do you think they can either make you or break you?
I think that broken people get broken by social media, or further broken. So that being said, I think anything that's wrong with social media, it was already wrong in society. I don't think social media causes negativity necessarily, because I think it just amplifies whatever was already out there. So, but that being said, I use social media like crazy. I'm on. I have a Facebook. I have a couple Facebook pages. I have a Twitter account. I don't use it that much, but I do promote myself through my Twitter account. Honestly, I follow so many people that trying to read at what everyone's doing is that would be a full-time job for me, and I just don't want to take that time. Instagram, I am on. I post lots of cute pictures of my dog, because I've also found that social media is best if you don't constantly talk about your job. And I my job, but my career, but mostly, I mean, half of it's pictures of my dog. I have a little mini pin that I love, so and she's cute, so I like taking pictures. And I also have two Instagram accounts. One is the real Steve Brock, and the other one is at Stand Up Dramedy. So I mean, I'll send you those links. I think I gave you the at the real Steve Brock when we talked online, but I do have this other one at Stand Up Dramedy, which is specifically about my one-man show and other one-person shows. I think it's a play on stand-up comedy, because that's, I mean, some of my show is funny and some of it's not. So what is it?
Yeah, you follow me, I follow you.
Yeah, that's absolutely. I'm. By the way, if you're when you're watching this, let me follow me, and as long as you're not a spammer, I always follow you back. And so, but I use all other kinds of social media as much as I can. Anything new comes up, I tend to latch on to it. I do have a website, stevebrockmedia.com, but I use those tools as best as possible. I join Facebook groups where there's casting directors involved. I belong to this filmmaking community called We Make Movies, WeMakeMovies.org, if you want to look it up. It's great. I use actors once a week, and we collaborate. But there's a website, and we talk there too. So we post needs that we have about our own projects that we're working on. So I use Facebook a lot. I use Twitter a lot less, and I use Instagram increasingly more. And that's I don't understand Snapchat. I think it's because I'm too old for it. I think that's really an app for younger people. But if you want to teach me, go ahead. I'm a good learner. The point is that social media I use all the time for my career, to connect to people, to talk to people that I grew up with. I'm going to be going to a high school reunion because they organized it on Facebook. I don't see there's not much of a downside for me when it comes to social media. But I'm not blind or deaf or dumb, because I do read, and I am aware of how social media can be a negative for people who are not as maybe well researched as I am. I have been a computer tech in my life. I started in the industry quite a long time ago, and so I feel lucky that I'm very well researched when it comes to, when my daughter comes to me with something that sounds a little scammy, I go, honey, I'll look it up, but it sounds real scammy. And so I smell a scam really easily, but that's, yeah, you use social media as a tool and you can connect to your friends but sometimes just be aware of what you're reading. Sometimes, especially Twitter. I'm not going to be controversial on this show. I don't know about your politics, but you're a New Yorker, so I'm assuming something.
You can say whatever you want.
Well, I'm a raging Democrat. Actually, more of a libertarian than Democrat. But the gentleman in the White House right now abuses Twitter, and people that follow him tend to abuse it too. So if you are reading Twitter, and that's my opinion, if you're reading Twitter, it's not. And here's the thing: I don't also want to sit here and say that the left is always any better, because I'm not blind, deaf, or dumb. But also, I took a class of American government from a really great teacher, originally from Nigeria, and he still had his accent, but he was teaching at a local community college, and it was it was like a government type of class. I needed it for my degree, and his favorite line was, "Do your research." And that's the thing about social media. Facebook is one thing. The way I use Facebook, I don't tend to get propaganda coming across my feed. I would imagine if I focused more on my Twitter account, I might see some. But if you see something online that, well, there's something called confirmation bias, that if you already believe it, you'll believe what you're told. My feeling is that everyone should do their research. Whatever they see coming across their feed that's not from a friend, and maybe sometimes from a friend, that just do a little research. Go on Snopes. Go on PolitiFact. There's a number of fact-checking resources online. PolitiFact is somewhat left-leaning, but not very much. They do check both sides, and that's how I check it up. If I see something that smells a little fishy, I do my best, and I have any confirmation bias when it comes to world affairs and politics, and city politics, all the way up to federal world politics. So that's what I see is the downside of social media. But if you really do your research and you focus on the fact that you truly can't believe everything you read, then I think social media becomes a joy.
No, absolutely. Now, I do have a couple questions for you off the air, but wrapping up our interview segment, how can people follow you, as we were talking about? You hinted towards that you are on Twitter and Instagram, but are you also on Stage 32, LinkedIn? Are you on any of those sites, or any sites you can talk about?
You know what? I am on Stage 32. Look me up, because the truth is I do not have that link memorized. I am on Stage 32. I'm also on, what's that? I am on LinkedIn. I do have a profile on LinkedIn. Steve@sebrock.com is my email, and yeah, that's my personal email, so don't swamp me with stuff, but that's how you connect to me on LinkedIn. And honestly, that's, and if you're into this sort of thing, we actors have our own social media. I'm on Actors Access, LA Casting. I'm on Casting Frontier, so you can find me there too. And my website, SteveBrockMedia.com is my website. So those are the ways that you can get a hold of me, follow me, call my agent. That's my website, is everything on it, and also there's links to my social media, so you can connect to me there. imdb.me/Steve Brock if you want to look me up there. I have quite a few wonderful opportunities that I've had a chance to be a part of, so that's how you get a hold of me.
No, absolutely. My last question for you wrapping up is after this interview, I'll probably burn this shirt because I really don't like how you can see through it. But my last question I was going to ask you is, when I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what was your first reaction, and what made you say yes, and how do you feel now?
My first reaction is relatively the same as my reason I said yes. When you posted on Facebook that the goal of the show, it was unusual. I don't think there's much online like this discussion that the idea that you can be a success even with a quote-unquote learning disability. Dyslexia is painful. ADHD is so hard to get through. And anything on the serotonin spectrum, including autism and all these things that we look at as disabilities that can often be, through another lens, be a strength. And I saw that in your post. I saw that you really wanted to talk about artists and their successes in spite of their disabilities. And I really appreciated that. So that is the reason why I asked you. That's why I advertised my availability anyway. And when you contacted me, I was waiting for you to contact me so I could say yes. Because this is to link to a topic that I have been talking about for the past 6 months in rehearsal for my show. My show, while one of the main topics is sexual preference and sexual fluidity, I do really punch into ADHD and other forms of disabilities and what it means to really live with it, not just survive with it, and really experience successes even with that. So that's why I said yes.
No, I do have a couple questions for you off the air. Now, I'm looking forward to part 2 down the road. It was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest. And like I said, I'm looking forward to it down the road.
Thank you. Appreciate it.